Wilderness first aid? What? Hey, ScouterStan. Let's talk a little bit about wilderness first aid. Now, this question came up from a viewer. That was suggestion. Justin has it right here on the screen. He was asking about what is that. Now, a lot of you are familiar with first aid merit badge and all of the training and stuff that goes on with that. And then, of course, there are CPR courses out there, but this is a step further. This training is specifically for adult leaders or youth that are over 14 to participate in, to learn about wilderness first aid, which is a little bit different. So many times, if you're out in the wilderness and somebody becomes ill or injured, you are a distance from any kind of rescue. And you need to be able to not only recognize and diagnose problems, you need to be able to treat them so that things don't get worse. Now, this training might be required depending on your activities and where you are going. We're going to go into that a little bit, but you have to understand that if you're out on the trail or you're in the backwoods, you could be hours away from a hospital or rescue or anything. So you have to be able to give wilderness first aid to scouts and scouters. That is something that you need to have those skills. Having those skills and those abilities really will come in hand if something goes wrong. Okay, so this is important training. You have to be prepared. That's like a motto, right? So you have to be prepared for the worst case scenario. That way you can handle it if it happens. Now, all high adventure bases throughout the United States require somebody on the crew or the trek to be wilderness first aid trained. At Philmont, each trek requires 2. Now, wilderness first aid, there is a syllabus. Now, if you go to where it says more in the description, there's a link to the syllabus for this training. Now, keep in mind that that's really set up for the instructors. So there is another link right above that that gives you the overview of what wilderness training is about. Now, one of the big things that the training will provide is the ability to detect injuries or symptoms of an issue. And this is something that the training actually goes into. Now, wilderness first aid is specifically BSA type of training, and it is tailored towards scouts and scouters. Now, this can be critical in receiving help when you are so far away from even a main road. These are critical skills, and the wilderness first aid helps teach you some of the techniques to mitigate a lot of damage that could happen while waiting for rescue. Often, rescue is up to you. As the fit person, you have to carry that individual away to get care. And you need this training to know if you need to quickly get them medical care, or is this something that can be handled on the trail, and then when you're close to something, you can get more assistance. This training is critical for that. You have to know what's going on. It could be very bad if you don't know what's medically going on. Now, this training can also help out in urban environments. If there's an emergency, a hurricane, a tornado, an earthquake, these are safety skills in your wilderness first aid. You're going to learn how to help people survive injury, illnesses. That's one of these things that goes on, not just out at wilderness environments, but at home. So this is very important training. Now, I mentioned earlier that youth 14 and up can take wilderness first aid. And of course, scouters, they are encouraged to take it also. And most councils will have wilderness first aid courses throughout the year. So it's very important that you contact them and find out when the next course is so that you can become certified. This is incredibly important training. Hey, before we go any further, I want to make sure that you are invited to come to the live meeting. The live meeting is on the first Sunday of each month at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So please join us. Now, you're going to have to adjust for whatever time zone you're in. But please join us and join in. That's a great way to ask questions, and I'm there to answer them. Also, I want to personally thank all of the patrons on Patreon for their continued financial support. Also, if you would like to become a channel member right here on YouTube, hit the join button and go through that process. It's a great way to help fund what you see here. If you don't want to do a monthly donation, that's fine. We have a thank you button. Just hit the thank you button and make a one-time donation. That is always appreciated. And let's get right back to it. Now, wilderness first aid certifications can be done through your council. The council can go through the process of getting trainers to go out to the scout camp and set up a course on learning the actual skills that are needed to become certified in wilderness first aid. Now, many times this is a weekend because it is 16 to 20 hours of training, and that can take a toll. So it's important to keep that in mind. It's a weekend, and as an adult, I know our time is precious, but this is well spent. Now, there are several other organizations like the American Red Cross that can do the training, but it needs to be the BSA training, okay, to get the certification to fulfill the requirements for when you're at a track at a high adventure base, okay? That's important. Having that medical knowledge is important. So you have to check with your council. You'll have to call the council service center, find out about when is the next big training coming up for wilderness first aid. Now, there are other courses out there that may cover some of the material, but it's not the same as what the BSA requires. So make sure that it is okayed through your council, that it is the training from that syllabus. That's the thing that they want to make sure that those scouts and scouters know wilderness first aid. Now, many councils will have a high adventure crew. They do it on a council level, and a lot of times they use the same people. So it's important that we get more people certified for wilderness first aid so that they're not overbearing on these scouters running these contingents, going off to Philmont, going up to Sea Base, the Summit, you name it. There's a Northern Tier. There's a lot of reasons for this. And working with your council is very important so that you can help out in those contingents that they're sending off. Now, I highly recommend that you click the more, go down to those links, pull up the websites, That is really critical information. The syllabus may be a little much, okay, but definitely look into it. Make sure that you get the right training. Communicate with your counsel, okay? Your counsel will have flyers that are handed out at roundtable. They're promoting it, but wilderness first aid training is critical training for adults, and I recommend everyone get this training, including me. Okay, so I'm getting it. So I want to make sure that I'm there to help others, and we do so much work for our scouts, and we want them to succeed and be safe and healthy. Okay, and we want to be prepared for whatever comes up. So these are things we have to do as scout leaders. So keep up that good work, and I'll see you on the trail.